Okay, I'm doing another one of these. Another another tier list, and this one actually matters a lot to me because I love this game series. There's a lot of people that do. So I'm gonna try and go into you know more detail with each entry, and so we got a normal tier list here. And then I have a category for have not fought because I believe, if I remember correctly, there's only two bosses in the entire series I haven't fought yet, despite beating each game dozens upon dozens of times. So it's either I didn't care enough or it just never interested me enough to go after these two. But I mean, obviously, if I've beaten all three games, and I'm talking about Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 here, um, obviously not beating those bosses didn't hinder me in completing the game. So they're obviously optional, but find out which ones you'll find out which ones they are when we get there. But let's just get through this. I don't think we need to elaborate more on tiers. These are obvious, like five, and then the have not fought is pretty decent. So let's just start this then. And when I place these, I'm focusing on my personal experience with it, lore, and design. A lot of people have their own criteria for it, but I'm just anyway. Let's do this. So the first one here is the Pursuer. Um, Sometimes I feel like the Pursuer is very up there, but then sometimes I don't. Um, that first initial fight is cool, where you can use the what are those things called? The giant crossbows. I know there's an actual name for them, but I don't know what it is right now. And then all the subsequent times that you see him after that, where he just appears places, like after you beat the Smelter Demon, you can just go right back down there and fight him. I think he's like, I think he's like B because after a while he becomes a nuisance. You know what I mean? In Scholar, once you get to the Lost Bastille, once you make that left and go all the way around the outskirts and get that chest, he'll appear there, and that's a little bit of a pain because assumably you're kind of a low level, and you can obviously run into the next room, but there's dogs and people throwing fire bombs, and there's a bunch of anyway. So he's a B tier, I think. He's like middle of the road. He's better than a lot of bosses on this list. I'll be fair, but I don't think he's up here. Anyway, this is Champion's Gravetender, and this is DLC for 3, the Ashes of Ariandel, right? Um, I'm really not a fan of gank bosses, quote unquote. Um, and I know a lot of people like this boss, but to me, it's just another attempt. I mean, not saying that the devs had their own like reason for this boss, but it just seems like another Sif clone essentially. And I've never been a fan of like obvious clones of other bosses. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna put Gravetender down here. I'm not a fan. The Bell Gargoyles from DS1. We have this is this is a big one because I mean this is technically a gank boss, but I think this is one done right. Like I was just saying I don't really like gank bosses, but here I am. This one's decent because like you get the first gargoyle down to half, and then the second one comes down, and it's already half health. So like it's not really a 2-on-1. It's like a 1.5-on-1, and they're pretty slow. And most people nowadays, they like. Well, I mean, I can't say most people nowadays. I personally, when I run through Dark Souls 1, it doesn't take me long to get through these guys, but it's still entertaining, and the cutscene's great. The lore aspect is great. You know, I think that's an A tier boss. The Burnt Ivory King. Um, the the Frog Knights. I call them Frog Knights. I know that's not what they are. The Frog Knights. They help, but they're such a pain in the ass to get all of them. Like fighting the Ivory King himself is great, but that lead up where you drop and then you fight all those other like charred burnt knights. There's like how many do you have to kill? Like 7 or 8 before you even get to the actual boss, and those things are tanky. You know what I mean? Like it's good lore. The actual boss himself is a good fight. I think I could put him in B justifiably. What do we got? Champion Gundyr. Champion Gundyr is a good fight. I like the area he's in where it's like all dark and it's like void basically. Like everything that isn't the ground you're walking on and like some walls are complete darkness. And then obviously it's just Gundyr but better. I think Champion Gundyr is A tier. Executioner's Chariot. This is D tier for me. I don't think I have to explain this. The cops is a good area, but I don't think it warrants. I mean, the cops has its own boss, but like getting to the chariot, it's like I don't know. I mean, in reality, the only purpose you have to go fight this thing is to get into that one covenant, right? Like, there's nothing really else there. And like, if you have the strategy down, like it's fine. But that fight still is kind of annoying. Plus, with the way Dark Souls 2 is, there's a chance that you can like have the strategy down, have the movements down, and still you might get hit by something. Ceaseless Discharge. Gross. I think this is probably the best cheese in any of the games. Like, there's so many different bosses you can cheese. But this one I think is my favorite. Lore wise, it has a really obvious connection to the Witches of Izalith. Excuse me. But like the actual fight itself isn't really a fight for me. Like I grab the robes, I run to the fog gate, and then I wait for him to do the thing, and then I just literally punch him fists only until all his health is drained. Like easy cheese. I mean, it's fun to do that, but does that make him a good boss? I'll put him in C because the cheese is good. Like it's the best cheese in the series, I think. Jorm the Giant. Oh my god, Jorm. I think Jorm is the first S tier boss because not only do we get the lore of him being a past um, like someone who's linked the flame in the past, but the whole tie-in with Sigurd. Is it Sigurd or Siegmeyer? I always get those two confused. You get the idea though. But like it's so cool cuz like you do the story with Sigurd or Siegmeyer. I can never tell which. And it isn't until like very close to finishing his story that he mentions like this is the lead up. Like I think even then he's like, "Oh, I have a promise to keep to an old friend," and then you find out it's Jorm, and it's like, "Holy shit!" Like it's so sad. Um, I wish there was like an a different way to make him easier than just the Storm Ruler, because the Storm Ruler, it's like 5 hits and he's down. But he has so much health, and the fight could be so much more interesting. But whatever, it's still amazing. Smelter Demon. I think there's two of them here. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure I saw two Smelter Demons on this list. Yeah, this one and then this one, and I don't know which is which. I'm fairly certain this is the one we face in the Iron Keep. So that's what I'm going to go by. I mean, they both just say Smelter Demon, so if it really matters, it doesn't. I'm not a fan of this boss. Um, I think I think lore wise it's cool, but that's about all the points it gets. Like the boss fight itself, his like the hit detection on that throughout that fight is weird sometimes, at least in my experience. And then not only that, but just getting there. Like how many freaking Elan Knights do you have to go through? Like 17? Like he's D tier for me. What do we got now? The Ancient Dragon. Oh my god. I've killed him like twice. And now that I know the cheese, it's like an okay boss fight, but I still won't go out of my way to do it. The fight itself is meh. The lore kind of helps him, but even then, he's he's probably C tier. What do we got here? Does it say Dragon Riders? I can't tell. It does. It says Dragon Riders. So the two Dragon Riders in Dark Souls 2 that you fight at the same time. Okay. It's another gank boss fight, and it's just two Dragon Riders. And one Dragon Rider is easy enough. This this is just D tier. It's honestly not even like a boss fight. It's just a minor inconvenience, you know. What do we have? The Farron's Undead Legion. Oh, I got the soundtrack for DS3, and to this day, I stand by the fact that the boss fight music for this boss fight is the best in the series. It is so good. There's some that come close, but this is my favorite. Like music, atmosphere, the lore. They tie back into Artorias, and I'm a huge Artorias fan. I have been since the first game. They're really good, but I don't know if they're as good as Jorm. I don't know. I just might have to do it. They're S tier for me because that music just gives it so much oomph. You know what I mean? Next, we have the Bed of Chaos. It's a huge part of the lore. I don't think I can ignore that. But the boss fight itself is pretty meh. Like the fact that it makes it easier to hit one of the things that like are they force fields or something? I don't know. But you hit one and it's easier to just quit out and then slide down again just to go to the other side. This is probably C tier at best. Like I'm giving it benefit of the doubt because it's the Bed of Chaos. But other than that, eh. We have the Demon Prince. Um, this took me a while when I first was going through the DLC. It still gives me issues sometimes. It's good for lore. I really like that build up throughout DS3 where you find out that Lorien was was messed up by the Demon Prince, and then we finally get to fight the Demon Prince, and it's like, oh, well, now I understand. Like that's insane. Um, but it starts off as a gank fight, and then turns into a one on one. But it's essentially three bosses you're fighting, which is pretty insane. I'll give it a B. I don't think I can do anything better or worse, honestly. The Dancer. The Dancer's music is good. I like how Dancer and Vort are like hand in hand, and their story pertaining to Pontiff Sullivan. So I'm gonna put I'm gonna put the Dancer in B as well. Sif the Great Grey Wolf. Oh my god, there's probably a lot of people who there's probably a lot of people, including myself, who didn't realize that there was a cutscene change if you did the DLC first. It just makes it so much worse. I gotta put Sif in A tier for that, seriously. The Elena Squalid Queen. I think that says Elena. I could be wrong. Um, she's the one that does the It's like the mud version of Velstadt, right? That boss is okay. It can get really obnoxious when she's got Velstadt after you too. But otherwise, I think it's like middle of the road. It's not incredible. It's like this one's a bigger nuisance, like more of just an inconvenience, but an inconvenience nonetheless. I think C. I've never been a fan of the Sunken King, honestly. The Crown of the Sunken King or whatever it is. We have the Demon Fire Sage, just another clone. That's weird that in Dark Souls 1 they cloned the same boss 3 times. So odd. Um I think design-wise the Fire Sage is the best of the 3, but I don't think it's the best overall of the 3. I'll give him a C. Pinwheel. Oh my god, what a His lore is so sad though. His backstory is real sad. I mean, the boss fight itself is okay. Like he's easy. He's easy as hell. Um and I mean, you get a chance of a good item. I mean, they're all decent items you could get, but I mean, I prefer one or two over the other. Plus the Rite of Kindling. I don't know. I kind of have to put Pinwheel at B. Surprisingly, right? What do we have? The Duke's Dear Freya. Is it Freya? Is that how it's said? Um, I I kind of don't have a lot of feelings for this because I've tried to look into it and like I either lose interest or I just can't find anything. But like I don't really know the importance of the spider. Like, why does this spider have? I mean, obviously, once you get into New Game Plus in Dark Souls 2, the 4 big bosses will drop other souls as well. Why does this spider have the soul of Is it Seath that it has the soul of? I don't know. It's always been good. I mean, it's not a bad fight. The arena's okay. I like that it's got like an ancient dragon wrapped in webbing and shit. But probably C for me. A is it Ara? Ava? I don't remember the name. It says it right there, but it's hard for me to read. That's just gonna go in D tier because that's the one that's invisible, right? Fuck that. Normal Dragon Rider. I'm gonna put the normal Dragon Rider in C tier because the cheese, 6 steps, and that's it. Dark Eater Madeir. This is an A tier. He's so tough. He has so much health. His lore is great. And it's kind of sad when you're actually fighting him, you know? Um, I've only beat him once. It took me forever for me to actually get him off my list of bosses I've beaten. Um, but yeah, his attacks are good. The arena's great. Like it sets it up real well with you having to like attack him prior, like on that bridge. That's pretty cool. We got Demon of Song next. Um, Shrine of Amana is probably the worst area, one of the worst areas in the entire series. Some people might think it's the worst, and I'd be totally okay with people thinking that. I mean, design wise, it looks okay, but man, those sorcerers, they will fuck you up. But anyway, the boss fight. Um, it's not really that interesting to me. Like the fight itself, okay, like you can only hit it when when it shows its face and arms or whatever, but like where did this thing come from? Like I don't even know. Like I could probably look more into this, but I just either haven't or it's like, eh. So I'm gonna put it in C tier. Um, wow, ONS. The arguably probably the best boss fight in the series. A lot of people would probably say that. This is another gank boss fight too. And like I said earlier, I don't really like gank boss fights, but here I am. But this is so done well. Um, the addition of like whichever one you kill first, the other one will drop the soul. Like that's just cool to me. Um, there's not much else I can say about this fight that other people haven't. So I'm just gonna put it where it belongs and put it in S tier. You know, Centipede. I like the Centipede Demon boss fight. Um, I prefer to take that path instead of spamming 30 humanity to open the shortcut. I like the Centipede Demon boss fight. I really do. Um, excuse me. Wow. So we're gonna put him in B. Some of these I'll probably like go quick on, and some of these I may linger on because I like them that much. But we'll get there. The Throne Guardians. This to me this is like an ONS but worse. But like the aspect of like the aspect of one of them getting downed and the other one can help them. Like I kind of like that. It adds challenge. But I mean, I don't know. It's like a B. Manus of the Abyss. Oh, the DLC in Dark Souls 1 all of it is incredible. The entire DLC is absolutely marvelous. Manus is like the pinnacle of lore for the entire series, honestly. Like there's so many theories that people have, and there's obviously nothing definitive because it's FromSoft, but no one's complaining. But like my now, I'm not sure if anything has been confirmed by anything or if it's just been left to you know fester or for people to debate. But my interpretation was that Manus is the furtive pygmy that they talk about in the beginning of the cutscene, and that makes the most sense to me. That you know because his name when you fight him is Manus, Father of the Abyss, like essentially giving hint at the fact that it kind of started and spawned from this being right here, and the furtive pygmy had the dark soul which spawned it too, so it kind of makes sense. And then he's just aggressive as fuck. Like he's difficult if you're not ready for it. Seriously, he's an S tier boss. Seriously, Moonlight Butterfly. Oh my god, this thing is weak. And then most of the time, if you try and kill it, like you'll be waiting for it to like. If you're a melee build, you're gonna be waiting for it to land so you can hit it. But if you're a sorcerer, you can just you can go in there and kill it before it even does anything. But it can be obnoxious, but it's not worth going out of your way to fight it every playthrough. That's just my take. Sorry, my cat was fucking around. So I'm gonna put it in C. And for the record, I'm just putting these in the tier. Like it's not like whichever one is farthest to the left is I think is the best. No, it's not like that. It's in this tier. Period. That's it. There is no more excess for it like at all. So what are we at now? The Covetous Demon, Jabba the Hutt. Oh, he's so easy. What's the lore for him? He's just so infatuated with what's her face? Mytha? It's Mytha, right? Yeah, he's just so infatuated with Mytha that he just eats and shit. Like that's it or something like that. I don't exactly remember. He's I'm not gonna lie, he's fun to beat up on. Seriously, like he's so easy. He's just fun to beat up on. It's like, oh, how fast can I kill him this time? So I mean, for that aspect, I'd like to put him in C. But everything else is just not great. I'll put him in C. Aldia. Aldia added with all the DLCs. Gives nothing, gives no souls, stops you multiple times throughout the game to talk to you, asks you questions, and literally the answers don't fucking matter. And I always forget, is he like the brother of Vendrick? Like, was he related to Vendrick, or was he somebody else? Because I was led to believe that he was Vendrick's brother, and if that's wrong, then that's wrong, and I'm fine with that, because that wouldn't really make sense anyway, as far as I know. I mean, who knows how long it's been since Vendrick really ruled Drangleic at the time that he would have, and when we actually play the game. I mean, obviously, enough time has passed to where he's hollow when we find him, Vendrick. I mean, so maybe Aldia is some amalgamation of whatever the fuck he was experimenting on. But as far as I know, it's Vendrick's brother. Um, like it's so weird. Even after you get all three crowns, like you get all three crowns, and then Vendrick's crown, and then you kill Vendrick, and then you talk to Aldia all three times. Then you fight Aldia, but it doesn't give you anything. He just like monologues. Like that's supposed to. Oh no, technically speaking, you weren't able to have the option to leave before that, right? That was implemented in because of the Aldia stuff. I don't know. I don't really think he's that great of a fight, so I'll put him in C. The last giant who, big speculation that he's supposed to be the giant lord as well, because the whole he takes his own arm off thing. He's probably B tier. King Vendrick. Oh man, I remember the first time I tried to kill him, and I didn't do shit to him, and he fucking destroyed me in one hit because he was like he's a oh my god, glass cannon essentially. The lore is there. His boss fight is kind of underwhelming because he's just hollow dragging his sword around, but the fact that you need the giant souls to like weaken him or whatever, like that is pretty cool. I'll put him in B. I think he belongs there. The Rotten. I like the Rotten. I like this boss fight. For a long, long, long time, when I was farming for souls, but I think this was back before Scholar. Um, when I had just the first edition of it or whatever. Um, that little secret bonfire where you have to use a branch of yore on the statue um, to gain access to. There's a pot in there that used to have a body with a bonfire ascetic. So you could rest there, kill the rotten, go there again, bonfire ascetic, get another bonfire ascetic, and repeat. So that was like a good farming area. But since then in Scholar, they've changed it and it's a different item now. But I mean, overall, the lore is okay. The fight is. He's really easy and fun, in my opinion. Some people may have problems with him because, like, the fire pits and all that other shit. I mean, his design is cool. He's just a bunch of random bodies. He's probably B tier. Vort of the Boreal Valley. His design is dope. I mean, him and the dancer go hand in hand, so they're probably about the same. He's just much sooner. The Crystal Sage, I think, is really obnoxious at first. Like, the first couple times I fought the Crystal Sage through the game, I was like, man, this boss is fucking annoying. Like, I was getting frustrated. But the whole, obvious inspiration from Logan and everything, like, great. But not higher than a C tier. Who's next? Royal Rat Vanguard. That's Mohawk Boy, right? Yeah, that's a trash fight. We're just gonna skip ahead with that. Fuck that. Eudex Gundyr, the first boss fight in Dark Souls 3. Now, I put Champion Gundyr at A. I think introductory. Um, I think Eudex could be B. It's a pretty fair fight. The lore is pretty good. He's just under Champion, which I think is fair. Nashandera is one of the final bosses in Dark Souls 2. I say one of because, if you do all the DLCs and stuff, you can have Aldi as the last fight. But if you don't, you can just fight Nashandra and it's over. Um, Nashandra is just using you to get access to the throne. Like, she wants you to, like, get all this shit and get down there, and then as soon as you get down there, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get him and I'm gonna take the throne, like making me do all the work. It's like, fuck you. Like, you're C tier boss fight. And those like four orbs of curse that are around her, it's so obnoxious. What do you got next? Taurus Demon. The Taurus Demon that eventually becomes a normal enemy later in the game. It's one of the first bosses in Dark Souls 1. It's very easy. The bridge environment for the fight, though, is pretty good with the potential for the Taurus Demon to fall off. That's really great and funny. Um, it's C. I can't complain about it, but C. D, basically, we're making it so that D is essentially trash. C is like the lowest of the good, and then obviously it goes up from there. What are we at now? Seath the Scaleless. Um, the most annoying thing about Seath's area, though, is obviously when you are forced to die. I know there's a skip where you can just take the elevator back down, and make a jump just right, and skip the whole prison section, but I've never been able to do it. But his boss fight, like Crystal Cave, is gorgeous. Like, the scenery's great. The invisible bridges, that's great. He's probably A tier. Like, the lore there is too. The lore is there too. I can't speak today. Looking Glass Knight. Oh my god. This is such a good fight. I love this boss. This is probably my favorite boss fight in Dark Souls 2, seriously. Um, one of them. Is it? He's probably A tier. The gank boss in Sunken King. We D tier. No, absolutely not. The Capra Demon. Oh my god, with those two fucking dogs and that small ass arena. This is D tier too. Like, it gets much easier as you like play through the game more. But like, if you're first playing through, it is rough. Like, this is, my cats are freaking me out. This is a brick wall essentially that is hard to get by if you're playing through for your first time. Like, a lot of people I know have struggled with this. What do we got next? Prowling Mage. Oh man, it's so easy. And you know what's embarrassing? I've died a lot of times to this boss doing dumb shit. This is C, cuz like, it's fun. Like, you just run through the canyon area with the camp at the top. You go through the little like cave-like structure with the spiders in it, and then you're like, "Oh, a boss, great!" And then it's this, and it's like, "Wow, that was surprisingly easy." Crossbreed Priscilla. I love the lore. I'm not too happy about the area though. The painted world of Ariamis is kind of obnoxious. Did I say that right? I hope so. That area is kind of obnoxious with the enemies that if they die, they'll toxic you if you're within range. Like, literally, I don't even do the whole area. If I want to kill Priscilla, I go straight through to the left, straight to the zombie dragon, and then I'm right through. Like, I don't even mess around with the big building in the center or the courtyard. Like, I don't even bother because screw that. Um, that and the fact that the only way you can leave for the first time is like once you get there, you have to beat the boss, and then, or well, you don't have to beat this boss, which I think is cool. You can choose to fight her or just walk by and leave. For that, I think A or A B. I can't even read. So I've heard a lot of good things about the Dark Lurker, but this is one of the bosses I have not fought in the entire series, and it saddens me because I've heard a lot of good things about this boss. What turns me off from doing it though is venturing into that, like, I don't know if it's like an alternate dimension or world or something, but you're essentially a phantom, and it's like timed or something. I don't know, but I haven't fought. I can't say anything. Uh, the Asylum Demon next, the very first boss in the very first Dark Souls game of the series. Um, I think it's underappreciated. I think more and more, Like as you play, obviously it's like, oh, it's so easy, go through the door. But like a lot of people, if not everyone that's played the game their first time, will try to fight it and get squashed because, oh, my fists or this broken sword doesn't do anything. And it may take a couple tries before you figure out that that door is right next to you. I think it's good design though. That is great. It's like, oh, a challenge is ahead. Like it makes you think outside the box. It's like, oh, okay, so this is a boss. I have to try and fight it. What? I have to fight it like this? Oh no, wait, there's something over there I can use to escape. Like it already sets the principle of the game up for you within the first couple minutes. Like I think that's great design. That's A tier. Plus the lore is great. Like we already know that Gwyn ordered all the undead to Asylum because he's afraid of the abyss, and obviously the undead bring upon the abyss and the hollowing and stuff, and then it's just a guardian of the asylum. Like that's cool. The Iron Golem is a badass. And then obviously we get Tarkus to help us. That's a B tier boss fight. Sin the Slumbering Dragon. I'm also not a huge fan of dragon boss fights. Only Dark Eater Madeir was a really good dragon fight, and then I don't think this one was because he's very, very like aerial a lot during the fight, and it's tough. Plus, like the poison shit. I mean, he's a C tier. Sanctuary Guardian, he's a C tier too. Nothing really to say about him. Sister Freed is probably the toughest boss in my opinion in Dark Souls 3. Three phases and then Black Flame at the end, just so aggressive. Um, I'm gonna say A tier. Guardian Dragon in Dark Souls 2, that's D tier because he's kind of annoying. Like he'll fly up, he'll latch onto the cage, and then he'll flame you, and then you have to wait for it. Like, you've gone through it enough. You know already. Black Dragon Calamity is another one of those great dragon boss fights, kind of done right in the DLC of Dark Souls 1. And the fucking badass fucking cutscene where where Hawkeye just rips him a new one and grounds him for a while. Like that's so cool. Like all that lore, all that, that back cutscene, and then the fight itself is pretty dope. Like B or A, I'll put him in A with Madeir. I'm not a fan of. Oh wait, no, that's not Gwyndolin. I'm sorry, that's Aldrich. Well, I mean, you can see the confusion. Aldrich. I'm not a fan of Aldrich. I'm sorry. The nostalgia of fighting him in the same area that we fought Ornstein and Smo does not work for me. Like, okay, it's nostalgic, it's nice, but like, I don't like Aldrich. That's C tier for me. Velstad is a B. I like the the Undead Crypt. Undead Crypt, the Royal Crypt. I don't know what it is, but that's a good area. He's a good boss. And the fact that he's like him and the king are like attached to the hip, and then you go into the lore of him and the Fume Knight, and we'll probably touch on that later. But good boss fight. Dark Sun Gwyndolin. Okay, so this is the real Gwyndolin. I'm not a fan of this boss fight. The long hallway, like lately when I fought him, I've been able to like defeat him real easy. But I've had issues in the past, and the long hallway with him running is kind of annoying. So I'm just gonna put it in D because sometimes, a lot of times, I dread it, just because it's like, oh man, this could either take forever or this could take like 2 minutes. Oh, what is Oh my god, what does this say? What's his name? Uh, Half-Light. D tier. I'm not a fan. I'm sorry. I just can't like I know it's like the Looking Glass Knight with like able to summon real people in, but like no, just no. Then we have Mytha, the Baneful Queen. She's like a C. Um, like, if you don't burn the windmill, you get a lot more poison, and it's a much suckier fight. But so many people now, including myself, like, it's so easy just to stop at that bonfire, light up a torch, light the windmill, and then keep going. Like, you don't even have to really mess around with a lot of shit. You can just do that, and then you're right there. Plus, there's the bonfire right above the boss entrance, so like, I don't know. It's not that great. I don't really have any issues. I don't know a lot of lore about her. I probably should. Like, I'm not an expert. I'm not a super knowledgeable person on this. Like, I know the stuff I know about this game is the stuff that interests me. So that's probably why she's put here. What do we have next? Knight Artorias, the hands down the best boss fight in the series, in my opinion. Seriously, like, it's so good. The lore, the fight itself, the attitude he has, the tie-in with Sif, the the tie-in with one of the other knights, four knights of Gwyn, like everything. The fact that like he's normally left-handed and his left hand is broken when you fight him, so like just think like I mean I've always thought like because in Dark Souls 2 you find out that like it's a left-handed weapon. So Artorias was left-handed, but when you fight him in the boss fight, his left arm is broken. So imagine like if it was the other way around and his dominant hand was good to use, like he would have been a lot harder. And a lot of people struggled with him. Like at first, I mean, I struggled with him at first for a while, but top tier. I don't want to hang on to too much time with him because I can talk for a while. Anyway, Dragon Slayer armor. There's so many Dragon Slayer bosses in this series. Like you have Ornstein, who's a Dragon Slayer. You have the old Dragon Slayer in DS2. You have this. This just seems like a copycat, even though it's sort of original. It's like a C. I'm not excited for it, you know what I mean? But like, it's a decent fight. It's tolerable. Osiris. I hate this fight. I'm gonna be honest. I despise this fight. His like running attack is like bullshit to me. It's obnoxious. So we're gonna put that in a D tier because I'm not a fan of Osiris. I'm sorry. I just can't be. I'm not. What do we have? The Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, the final boss of Dark Souls 1. Just on lore alone, he's got to be A tier. So that's where I'm putting him. The Fume Knight, arguably the hardest boss in Dark Souls 2 because his resistances, his move set, his health pool, all the shit you have to do to get to him. Like, is it Broom Tower? Whatever. Crown of the Old Iron King. That whole DLC, like that whole area is absolutely hard. He's B tier, 100% B tier. High Lord Walnir, he's big, and you fight him in the abyss, and all you gotta do is kill his bracelets. Like the lore, I guess, is cool, but I mean, I don't know that like I don't even know what it does to you. Where he breathes, and that smoke will just destroy you. Like I don't know, it's C tier. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, I got to do this now. At least in my opinion. The Ruined Sentinels. That's like the same opinion I have as Walnir. Like, oh, I got to do this now, and I tend to take that route more often than going through the Wharf too. You know, because you can either go through the Bastille to get to the Lost Sinner, or you can go through the Wharf. I mean, Ruined Sentinels are a C. The Curse Rotted Greatwood. Okay, so you get the transposing kiln from this. You get access to boss weapons with this. Um, Ironically, the soul it gives you, it's I think the weapon's pretty bad that you can transpose when when you get it. Um, I think it's kind of annoying though because you get all those hollows trying to attack you while you're trying to attack it while you're still above ground. And then once it's halfway, you fall. There's no more like other shit fighting you. But then that fucking arm, and it's constantly moving around. So like if you already got one of it's annoying. It's an annoying boss. I'm gonna put it in D tier. The Nameless King, the finally revealed firstborn son of Gwyn. What a fight this was. Like the lore behind this, like him leaving, him siding with the dragons. The this is probably the biggest lore heavy boss in the series because from Dark Souls 1 we were hinted at of like, oh, this the firstborn son of Gwyn, like his statue's missing, like who is he? And people were like, oh, it's Andre, oh, it's Solaire, and none of that's true. It's this whoever the fuck this is. And then there's so many other theories too, like, oh, the Nameless King is actually Faram, like that led the kingdom of Faram or whatever. Um, this this absolutely, on lore alone, this is S tier. And then the fight itself, two phases, and then obviously we have um, the kind of callback to Ornstein and Smo, where you know the the dragon, the king of the storm, is defeated, and then you know he absorbs his power and everything. It's so cool. The gaping dragon. This I like having this fight. Like there's a lot of times where I'll go out of my way to go kill this thing because it's just that fun. There's actually one time I was doing a sorcery run, and I think I was on like New Game Plus or something, and I just had the pursuers up and Dark Bead, and I was like strapped to the nine with all the stuff to increase your stats, and I one shot him, and it was hilarious. Like, this is a entertaining boss to fight. Seriously, I'll put him in B tier, and you get Solaire to help you. Like, what's the problem with that? Old Demon King, I think, is probably the worst demon fight. No, no, not the worst demon fight. He's like a C tier because his area is cool. Um, the Smoldering Lake. He's okay. I don't hate him. You know, Lost Sinner. This has a lot of lore stuff. I mean, in that opening cutscene, we see that bug from the Bed of Chaos. Um, or that was the Bed of Chaos come out of its eye. So it's like, is this one of the witches? Or, like, I don't exactly remember. I do recall a lot from that, but not a lot of things, especially. And the Lost Sinner is kind of, like, forgetful, in my opinion. I don't know. It's just, it's Dark Souls 2 bosses. Like, a lot of them are just, oh, I gotta do this. Like, not saying all of them, all the bosses in the game are bad, because they're not. There's a lot of really good ones in the game. I think Lost Sinner's B. Four Kings. Oh man, New Londo is annoying because of the ghosts, and obviously you have like the transient curses. Is that what they're called? The transient curses. But still, like the ghosts are obnoxious. The dark wraiths are pretty cool, and those like sludge monsters, whatever they are. Anyway, the boss fight. Um, I'd say adding the fact that you just get a shard of a Lord's Soul that was bequeathed by Gwyn or whatever, and you also need a ring that's dropped by Sif to get there. I think that's pretty cool. So I'll put the Four Kings in B. Ancient Wyvern. Oh my god. This is D tier. Like, it's essentially just a run and an obstacle course to the end to where you can just one shot it. And that run is fucking horrible. Like, that's part of the boss fight. Essential, like, you can stand there and you can try and kill it without doing that. But that's going to take forever, and you're not going to want to do that. So, that whole run where all those other enemies are, that's all taken into account, and that's part of this. And, like, you're more than likely to die from something that isn't the Ancient Wyvern. Like, it's satisfying when you finally get to do the plunge and it's like, oh, all your health is gone. That's great. But, like, how many times have people died trying to get there? You know what I mean? So absolutely D tier. We have the Stray Demon. This, I think, Stray Demon is probably the worst iteration of the Asylum Demon. Um, and all, I mean, it drops you a slab, but still, and it's optional. Like at least the Fire Sage had a decent design with the fire and shit. But like the Stray Demon, it has like the same powers as the Fire Sage, except it's not on fire. D tier. I just no. Scorpion S Najka. This is a C tier fight. I like having the option of like having Man Scorpion Tark to help you out, and then there's kind of like that backstory between the two of them. But like other than that, I don't really know a lot of lore about Najka, honestly. And then what does it do? It just gets you from there to what's next after that. The Prowling Mage's boss fight, like Wait. Didn't I put Prowling Mages in C? Yeah, they're about the same. Yeah, they're about the same. I mean, I can breeze through both of them. Yeah, anyway. What do we have next? The Skeleton Lords. Oh, the spooky, scary boys. They're pretty obnoxious. Like, I kind of don't like them. Like, usually what I end up... Like, I know for a fact that normally, when you do the fight, once you drop one of them, a certain type of skeleton will spawn, but it'll be like a small horde of them, like maybe 8 or 10, I don't know how many. But usually I forget, not that I forget, I just don't care, and I kill all of them at once, so they're all coming after me, and then I got to train them all around the arena. Like, I know there's different ways to do it, but either way I'm going to spend a lot of time, so D tier for sure. Um, this is also another one I have not fought yet, but I know that they take place in the Snowfield in the Ivory King DLC of Dark Souls 2. And it's another one of those fights where I believe you fight one to like half and then the other one comes in at full health. Still, also, it's another gank fight, but I'm not going to say anything until I actually go through and fight them. I believe these are the only two I haven't fought. Unfortunately, the Dark Lurker, because I know apparently he's a really good boss, which I believe, a benefit of the doubt until I actually fight him. And then these two, less hopes, not as many high hopes for them, but you know what I mean. Um, Royal Rat Authority, D tier. Obnoxious. That was definitely a Sif clone. And then with those little dogs that, like, what, are they toxic you or something? Like, no. Deacons of the Deep, that's a C tier boss fight, I think, because the lore about Aldrich. And, like, it's kind of entertaining. Like, if you get a big enough weapon and you're, like, on New Game Plus, like, just slicing through a lot of those guys are really fun. Slave Knight Gal. That's another S tier boss fight. It's to me, it is the canon ending of the Dark Souls series. At the very end of time in Dark Souls 3, like this is essentially after, in my opinion, essentially after the Soul of Cinder fight even. Like cuz you and Gale are just slated to be living that long. Like it I could sit here all day and do this and talk about this fight, but I won't. Pontiff Sullivan is an A tier because you just want to hate him so much and it works so well. And then like it's sort of a gank fight, but it's not because his shadow, but the shadow telegraphs his own attacks. And anyway, oh, what do we got? The other Smelter Demon, the blue one. I don't think I have to say much about that. A lot of people don't like the normal one. Where did I put him? Oh, same tier. A lot of people don't like the normal one, and most people don't like the blue one. I might have them confused, so I'm sorry if they do, but the designs, but they don't specify. So this one, for me, was the one in the Iron Keep past all the Elan Knights, and this one was in, what was it, the Iron Passage or something in the DLC? So blue, red, and they're both D tier for me. Rave Lord Nito, absolutely A tier. He welcomes you to the Bone Zone very kindly. I also like the fact that you can get into a covenant through him before you fight him. That's really cool. You get the Gravelord sword, you get the Gravelord sword dance miracle, which is cool. Definitely a huge part of the lore in the entire series. Like, obviously, the first of the dead. He's so cool. Uh, the old Iron King. I think he's B tier. I think he's B tier because I mean, the Iron Keep is probably like the largest area I think in the game. I might be wrong, but I think it's the largest, and it's interesting because like the more you learn through the DLC of Broom Tower or the Crown of the Old Iron King or whatever it's called, a lot of that comes out for like information for him, and it's really good. I mean, his boss fight by himself, it's okay. Like it's definitely different. Like it's kind of like the Moonlight Butterfly, but it makes sense for him where like he doesn't always attack and he can retreat and stuff. But like, yeah, I like it. I like it. Definitely a B tier. Oh, the Twin Princes. Um, they're like a C. Like fighting Lorien at first was cool, and then like you do the gank fight, and then you get Lorien down, and he keeps getting revived. Like that's it's obnoxious, but I mean it's cool. And then there's a lot to get into, but he's C for me. Soul of Cinder. This is in this is S tier. The music is good. The fight is good. The arena is great. The way they made the kiln, it looks amazing. The fact that the first stage is an amalgamation of all the different styles of players, essentially that have played the game before and beaten it. Like you get the curved sword, you get the ninja flip ring, you get you get a sorcery build, and then once you beat him, he goes into stage two, and it's just Gwyn, and then the music kicks in. Like, oh my god, that's great, and then the lore with it too. Like, holy shit, they really fucking went hard with that. Giant Lord. This is probably B. This is another potential for big farming. Because you can just use an ascetic at the that King's Gate, go into the memory, get a bonfire ascetic on the first set of stairs, and go kill him and repeat. But besides the farming, this the you're you're meant to go through the memories for the purpose, meant probably not for the purpose of defeating Vendrick because he's optional, but you're meant to go through the memories with the hope of getting story to the war that happened a long time ago, and through that you find out a lot about the Giant Lord, obviously, and his connection to Vendrick and all that other shit. So getting the kinship from him is great, especially in the memories. But the fight itself is so B tier. What do we have here? Old Dragon Slayer. So still completely unsure whether this is just some guy with an armor set or if it's actually Ornstein, because my thought process was after you defeat Ornstein and Smo in Dark Souls 1, you have the option to leave everything as is, or you can attack Guinevere, who gives you the Lord Vessel, and the illusion will go away and everything will be dark. So it makes you think that maybe the boss, Ornstein and Smo, was also part of the illusion, and maybe they weren't there at all. Which, and then there's contradicting stuff like there's like set pieces or armor pieces or just random dialogue sprawled out through some one of the other games where it says like Smo was the last one to leave his post or something, alluding to the fact that the Dragon Slayer left. But then you find Ornstein's armor and his spear on Archdragon Peak, where you fight the Nameless King. So it's like, oh, so he went to go follow the Nameless King. Yeah, it's confusing. But This guy, I'm pretty sure this is just a guy in a suit of armor, and it's not really that great of a fight. And he uses dark magic, like not even electric. He uses like dark. It's just dark, right? Or is it? Or is it? It's human pine resin if you use the pine resin in the game, which is weird. But wait, no, is it human in 2 or 3? I don't remember. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. If it's human or dark in 2 or 3. Anyway, Sir Alon is an absolute S tier boss. Like the fact that he gives you the little nod before you fight. His arena is gorgeous. It takes place in a memory. The lore is so great and ties in with the old Iron King. Like he's just such a good boss. Flexile Sentry, D tier. I'm not a fan. The water levels rise. The area is kind of meh. Like No Man's Wharf is kind of fucked up. Like not in a good way. Like you get the great sword there, but like that's like the best thing you can get in there. What do we have next? Well, 2 bosses left. We have Quelaag. And where do I want to put Quelaag? Probably B tier, because that's the other of the 2 bells that we have to ring. Her tie-in with the Witch of Izalith, and then her sister, the Daughter of Chaos, near the bonfire that's below her, and then Quelana right outside her domain, and all the tie-ins. And then obviously the big joke, the big meme, is there's always that one message right before the boss fight that says "amazing chest ahead." It's like, come on, really? But it's a classic now. And then the last one we got is the Belfry Gargoyles. This is the worst. Oh, it's so bad. You have like 5 gargoyles coming at you at once. Like not at once, but like no, it is pretty much at once because it's based on where in the arena you step. And if you go all the way back to the arena, they all come after you. And that can get really, really annoying. Seriously. Absolute D tier. And it's just literally like a recopy. Not a recopy, a copy of the gargoyles in the first game, but they're just worse. Like they look worse too. And then there's 5 of them. Like why is there 5 of them? Fuck off. Anyway, this took a lot of time. I'm very passionate about this series. This was Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, DLCs included. Here's my S tier. I'll read them. This has been long, but I'll make it a little longer, I guess, by doing this. So in our S tier, we have Jorm, the Fair and Undead Legion, Ornstein and Smo, Manus, Artorias, Nameless King, Slave Knight Gale, Soulless Cinder, and Surlon. That's my S tier for bosses. My A tier is the Bell Gargoyles from Dark Souls 1, Champion Gundyr, Sif, Dark Eater Madeir, Seath the Scaleless, the Looking Glass Knight, Asylum Demon, Sister Freed, Black Dragon Calamity, Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, Pontiff Sullivan, and Gravelord Nito. The Rave Lord, the king of the Bone Zone. Anyway, my B tier is the Pursuer, Ivory King, the Dragon Prince, the Demon Prince, the Dancer, Pinwheel, Centipede Demon, Throne Guardians, the Last Giant, Vendrick, the Rotten, Vort, Eudex Gundyr, Priscilla, Iron Golem, Velstadt, Fume Knight, Gaping Dragon, Lost Sinner, Four Kings, Old Iron King, Giant Lord, and Quelaag. That's my B tier. C tier is the long one. For C tier, we have Ceaseless Discharge, Ancient Dragon, Bed of Chaos, uh, Elena, I don't know how to say it. The Squalid Queen from the Sunken King DLC in DS2. The Demon Fire Sage, the Duke's Dear Freya, I think that's how it's said. The One Dragon Rider in Hade's Tower of Flame. The Demon of Song, the Moonlight Butterfly, the Covetous Demon. Yeah, I know the Covetous Demon is in C, but I mean it's fun to fight him. It's funny. Aldia, Crystal Sage, Nashandera, Taurus Demon, Prowling Mages and Congregation in C tier, Sin, Sanctuary Guardian, Aldrich, and Prowling Mages in the same tier might set a couple people off, but it's my opinion, man. It's whatever. Mytha, the Baneful Queen, the Dragon Slayer armor, Wolnir, the Ruined Sentinels, Old Demon King, Najka, Deacons of the Deep, and the Twin Princes. And then my D tier is the Grave Tender, the Chariot, the Smelter Demon from the Iron Keep. Sorry, I was trying to get my words together. The Twin Dragon Riders, Ava, the King's Pet, the Invisible one, the one that starts off invisible. Royal Rat Vanguard, the Gang Squad from the Sunken King DLC, the Capra Demon from DS1, the Guardian Dragon, Gwyndolin. I'm sorry. I can't defend Gwyndolin at all. I'm sorry. Half-Light, Osiris, Curse Rotted Greatwood, the Ancient Wyvern, the Stray Demon, the Skeleton Lords, the Royal Rat Authority, the other Smelter Demon in the DLC from DS2, Dark Souls 2, I mean, Old Dragon Slayer, Flex Isle Sentry, and the Belfry Gargoyles. And the two I haven't fought in the entire series yet, to this day, surprisingly, is the Dark Lurker and the Twin Pets in the third DLC for Dark Souls 2. So that's my whole list. This took a while, and it took a while because it's Dark Souls, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with making long lists like this if I get the chance to talk a little bit about stuff. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you either enjoy my opinions or hell even disagree. If you want, maybe tell me how you would do it, or tell me where you disagree if you do, or where you agree, or whatever. It doesn't matter. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you for checking this out. And if you made it to the end, especially thank you, because I know this is a long one. But have a good day.